Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got the tank review for the brand new British Tier 10 Premium Light Tank, the Technodrome, which is part of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles collaboration. Now if you do like the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below, as it really does help out the channel. And yes, the Technodrome. It is basically a Manticore, but generally better. What's worse on this vehicle than the Manticore? Basically the mobility. Everything else about the tank is just flat out better, as the gun is absolutely fantastic. You've got better view range, the camo is only ever so slightly worse than the Manticore, and your movement concealment is naturally worse as well, as you are a tank destroyer, not a light tank, but it's still absolutely fantastic camo, which means you stay unspotted really easily. And because this gun is so nice, you just consistently pump out ridiculous numbers of damage, and it is such a very good tank. Now, naturally, if you don't like stealthy, lightly armoured vehicles like light tanks or the lightly armoured tank destroyers, you are not going to enjoy this Technodrome, because it does take a fair bit to get the most out of it, because it just takes a know-how of how to use the camo mechanics, and then also keep yourself in positions where you can keep the gun firing, but you're not also taking hits. So if you don't like lightly armoured vehicles, you're probably not going to enjoy this tank. But if you do love the stealthy light tank type of tank destroyers as well, say like a Panzerjäger for example, if you love the Panzerjäger, you're probably going to love this tank too. Now it is stupidly expensive at 25,000 gold, I think it is, but there will be a 25% discount if you wait for the earn challenge to give it you when you hit the certain stage for it, and that'll knock it down to around 19,500 gold, I think it is, which is still ridiculously expensive. But if you're willing to spend the gold on this tank, you're getting an absolutely brilliant tank. It's probably a little bit overpowered with the way it is, but yeah, it's just mental. Honestly, it's a really, really ridiculously good tank. But without further ado, let's get into the statistics of the Technodrome. So, with the Technodrome, as you can see, you've got a 65 km/h top speed with a 20 km/h reverse speed with 280 horsepower engine, which is 22.58 horsepower per ton ratio, which is worse than the Manticore, as the Manticore generally has around a 40 horsepower per ton ratio, meaning it will get to the top speed much quicker. But 22.58 horsepower per ton ratio is basically still fantastic, and you will still hit 65 km/h quite easily. 20% internal fire chance means you are on the higher end of getting set on fire. Just like the Manticore, if it takes shots in the upper plate, it does get set on fire a wee bit, but I haven't really been set on fire that much in this tank. 30 degrees a second on the hull rotation is slow, and it's much slower than the Manticore, because I think the Manticore is sitting at 48, I think. And so it is much slower at turning, and generally the tank, with its turret rotation and track rotation, as well as the general feel of the mobility because of the lower power to weight, it is a little bit more sluggish than your general light tank. But the thing is, a Manticore is not going to go brawling with other light tanks where mobility is key. This tank is the same as the Manticore, where it's going to be going more passive scouting, taking up passive scouting bushes where it's not going to get YOLO'd too easily by light tanks, where it has to rely on its mobility to get out. So the mobility is still pretty good. Not great for trying to outmaneuver other light tanks, but generally you weren't doing that in the Manticore anyway. As your ground resistances, by the way, do not hold the tank back whatsoever. They are fantastic ground resistances. You do have 30 degrees a second on the turret rotation speed, which is the same as the hull, so bear that in mind, that your hull and your tracks go around at the same time. 312 meters of still concealment, you can get that down to a very low level. Same as the on the move concealment at 359 meters, because naturally the move concealment is worse than the still concealment, because you're not a light tank, you are a tank destroyer. So that's where you take silent driving, and you'll get as close as possible with that. You got 410 meters of view range, which is one of the things that I just don't understand, that this is a tank destroyer, but the Manticore is a light tank. And the Manticore as a light tank has 390 view range, and it's been nerfed down to 390 view range, and this has 410. That doesn't make sense to me, but there we go. This tank has 410 view range, which means it can spot like a light tank absolutely fantastically when you mix it with the very, very good camo that this tank has. 1.5 accuracy during rotation is not that great. Neither is 3.57 accuracy during movement. Now, you can get it lower with crew skills and stuff like that, and it still won't be too good, meaning when you're on the move and you're turning the tank, the aim circle will be rather large. But you have a 1.7 second aim time, which is superb, and it means that this gun aims in super quickly, meaning you're ready to go and keep the damage flowing. You've got 8 degrees of gun depression, which is great for the tank, means you are very flexible on the ridgeline, but you do have the oscillating turret problem of having 8 degrees of elevation, meaning the tank really does sort of struggle to look up, and if you're on any kind of incline, you will really struggle to keep your gun on target. It can be quite awkward on this tank, just like on the Manticore, where you're trying to find a shot into the back of someone, and then you hit a little bit of a ridgeline, and you just can't get the gun up to shoot them. So it's something you've got to be careful of with the Technodrome, same as the Manticore. You've got 11.5 second reload. Now, this tank has the same mechanic as the Nemesis Warhammer E100 type tank, that you've got 3 different rounds with the same penetration, but different alphas, and each round has a different reload. So this is an 11.5 second reload, which is 2.6k DPM, and that's going off of, I think it's the normal round, which is 290 pen, same as all 3 rounds, but that does 500 alpha. Now, I've got the reload times while I've got it fully equipped for you from just looking at what it is in game with each round. So you've got 290 pen for 630 damage on the middle round, and 290 pen for 250 damage on the third round. So the third round reloads really quickly, and you can fire for 250 damage. The middle round loads the slowest for 630, and that is the premium round, but that's the round that I use the most. And then you've got the standard round, which reloads in the middle for 500 alpha. Now, I use the 630 alpha all the time, and then use the lower alpha gun, or the lower alpha shell as well, because it's just easier to switch between 2 shells as opposed to having to manage 3 shells. And to be honest, in most cases, reloading for 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds slower for a higher alpha is much nicer than loading for that 500 alpha. So the reloads of these rounds, when I've got it fully equipped, is 8.3 with this first round for 500 alpha, 10.4 seconds for the 630 alpha shell, and a 4.2 second reload for the faster firing round. So you've got a nice utility in the fact that you can keep slapping people for a lot for 630. If you knock someone down to below 250 hit points, you can switch to the faster firing round, load the shell even quicker, and finish them off. Or if you're at that end game stage where you manage to get the big shot for 630, you can switch to the 250 alpha round and then farm up pretty quickly with that round as well. In a situation where you might not have had a chance to fully reload the 630 shell, you've managed to get an extra 2 shots of damage. And it is quite nice for that utility. You got 1380 meters a second shell velocity as well on all 3 rounds, which is really damn nice for the Technodrome. And as it is a tier 10 premium tank, you don't really have any bonuses. So let's have a look at the armor module. So as you can see, you've got no armor because you are basically a light tank, and yeah, that means you will get penned. There's no any spaced armor either, because it's not modeled in on this tank like it is on the Shred Tread or on the Party Wagon. And in terms of the modules, that's where the armor, the engine block is, which means, like I say, if you get shot in that upper plate on the left-hand side, you are quite likely to get set on fire. So be very, very careful of that in the Technodrome. That's where the ammo rack is, in the back of the tank. Now, it's actually quite difficult to knock the ammo rack out on this vehicle, but if you shoot it right in that back end, that's where you're going to damage it. And that is where the 2-man crew sits in the Technodrome. So what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment? Well, I've stuck my crew in the Centurion Action 10. Vinny, get yourself in Mr. Technodrome. So, with Mr. Vinny Jones, I do run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Camouflage Expertise, Silent Driving, Steady Aim, Run and Gun, Clutch Braking. Now, I run Clutch Braking to make the track traverse better, as the track traverse is slow on the Technodrome, and it's nice to be able to make the tracks better. And you can make the accuracy during rotation better in general with just running Born Leader and stuff like that. And even if you run Snapshot, it still knocks it down. It knocks it down a lot, but generally, you still end up with an aim circle that becomes massive. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to help the mobility a little bit. Instead of running Snapshot, I'm going to run Clutch Braking so that I have that better track traverse. Run and Gun to make the best out of the accuracy while on the move. Knock that down as low as possible. So again, while we're moving, it doesn't affect the aim circle too horrendously, as it would if we didn't take that. And Steady Aim to make the general accuracy of the tank even better so that this gun is filthily accurate. Silent Driving to keep the camo down while on the move, so we get closer to the standard still concealment, just like we would on a light tank. Camouflage Expertise to make the best of the camo in general on this stealthy tank destroyer. And then these perks you're going to run on every single tank in World War II, pretty much. And in terms of equipment, I do run the Advanced Loader, the Optics to be able to spot for yourself, and the Camo Net. Camo Net to get the best camo I can possibly get out of this vehicle. The Optics to get the best view range out of this vehicle as possible so that I can spot for myself really, really well and play it like that Scout and get fantastic assistance damage. and then the advanced loader to make the best out of this DPM. Now, I will have one replay, which is probably the first replay I'm going to show, where I did drop the advanced loader. So I went with a slightly worse DPM. I lost 300 DPM, I think it was, for dropping the loader, and I ran the traction system instead. I didn't really hit the top speed that easily at 71, but the extra track traverse was really noticeable, and it was pretty damn nice, and even then, the DPM was still nice on the Technodrome. So that is definitely an option that you could run the traction system for the better top speed, but more so for that better track traverse so that you can turn on a sixpence even easier. But it's down to you and how you want to play the vehicle. I just like having the max view range, having the best DPM, and having it so that I can stay unspotted really, really easily in this vehicle. So let's have a look at the statistics of the tank now it's fully equipped out. So as you can see, we've now got slightly better on the ground resistances, 32.7 degrees a second on the hull rotation, so it does turn that 2.7 degrees a second faster. 525 meters of view range is absolutely overkill, but is lovely to have, meaning you can get some really good assistance damage with this vehicle. 239 meters of still concealment is absolutely fantastic, and it's only a little bit worse than the standard Manticore. 257 meters of on the move concealment, though, is pretty much way worse than the Manticore, naturally. But with silent driving, we've knocked it down to quite close to that 240 mark. And it's still pretty good for this kind of tank. We've got a 1.16 accuracy during rotation now, which is a lot better than the 1.5 it was. And like I say, if you run snapshot, you will knock it below 1. But it still blooms out a lot anyway, and I felt like I wanted the better track traverse for me personally. So it's down to you, realistically, on that, what you want in terms of the crew perk. Still got a 1.7 second aim time, which means that this gun aims in really quickly. 2.77 meters of accuracy on the move, which means that your aim circle does bloom out still quite a lot. And that's because naturally we don't get the gun stabilizer. So the accuracy during movement is not great because we are a tank destroyer. But because you got that 1.7 second aim time, it just aims in so fast. And we've got a 0.22 accuracy at 100 meters as well, which means this gun is supremely accurate. The reload is now down at that 8.39 seconds of reload, like I say. And then you've got that 4.2 on the small round for 250 and 10.4 on the big round for 630. And you got a 3.5k, nearly 3.6k DPM. And across all three rounds, generally, it has around the same DPM. That was the whole aim of them when they added this sort of shell mechanic to the Nemesis. It's the same for the Technodrome. It basically has the same DPM across all three rounds. It's just down to utility as to where and when you need each of the rounds. And it, like, for the shells, it is pretty nice to have that big gun, big alpha for keeping slapping rounds out. And then when you need to secure a kill on someone, you can quickly reload the 250 alpha round and just slap someone up with that and finish them off. But yeah, that's the stats of the vehicle with it fully equipped out. And like I say, it is an absolutely fantastic tank. It is ridiculously good because the mobility is so nice, because the gun handling is fantastic, because the DPM is really nice, and the fact that you stay unspotted so easily in this tank, you can really farm up in it very easily. And it is a sad fact that it is just better than the Manticore, because you look at the Manticore, right? Yeah, the mobility is better. 40.32 horsepower per ton ratio with the 68 kilometer an hour top speed. You will hit it very easily, unlike in the Technodrome. You've got a 42 degrees a second hull rotation speed, which means it's 12 degrees a second faster than the Technodrome as well. 234 meters of still concealment is about 4 to 5 still concealment better than the Technodrome. But you've got 499 view range as opposed to 525, which means that the Technodrome actually spots way better than you do. And then you just look at the accuracy during movement, it's actually worse than the Technodrome, way worse in fact. Same as the accuracy is worse than the Technodrome, the aim time is worse than the Technodrome, the accuracy during rotation is better, so that's something for it. Same as the turret traverse is better, but naturally the Technodrome is a turreted tank destroyer, that does have worse turret traverse. And then you look at the DPM and you go, well, we've got 248 pen on the standard, 268 on the premium. Obviously the Technodrome is way better with 290. You've got better alpha on all three rounds on the Technodrome, and you've got a 2.3k DPM on this thing at fully equipped. Whereas on Technodrome, you've got 3.5k. So the Technodrome can play exactly the same as the Manticore and just do flat out better than the Manticore in most ways. The only thing the Technodrome struggles a little bit more than the Manticore is getting away from light tanks at times. But generally, the way that the Manticore plays is you're not really near the light tanks too much anyway to have to use mobility to get away from them. But it's just a sad time that, yeah, the Technodrome basically just kind of overwrites the Manticore in most ways, and that is just a bit, you know, just kind of like the party wagon with the Skoda T50. It's just a little bit sad. But there we go. That's the Technodrome. It is an absolutely fantastic vehicle. What I'm going to do now is send you into the replays where you can watch this tank in action, see how it handles, and just see if it's a bit of you or not. So as always, everybody, I'll see you in the replays. So here we are in the replays with the Technodrome, and this first game is probably the more average game I've had in the tank. I say more average. It's actually on probably one of the lowest ends of games that I've had in terms of damage, because I'm kind of doing ridiculously well with this thing, because it just is consistent. It is consistent at pushing out damage, because you've got great mobility to get yourself into fantastic flanking positions. You can get into really cheeky flanking positions as well, very, very easily, because it's very difficult to spot you. And this gun, near enough, RNG's still a thing, but near enough always hits the target. And because of the flexibility of switching between, and yes, I do fire full premium in this tank, same as I do in the Nemesis as well, because switching between this round and the smaller damage round is so much easier than just having 3 rounds and getting confused as to which round I'm loading. And the 630 Alpha is always going to be much nicer to have than the 500 Alpha for a second or 2 off of the reload, as you can slap for a lot of damage with this round. So yeah, you can get into some very, very cheeky early positions. Well, you can get into some very cheeky flanking positions anyway, and put some nice shots down range to shut people down without them ever really seeing you. So this first replay, we're on Westfield, and on Westfield we're up to 1,022 damage so far. I was going to go to K0. This 257, by the way. Damn, that's lucky. But yeah, I was going to go to K0. But look how many people we had going up the K line, and I felt like the 2 mediums were going to get there way before me. So I decided, okay, now I'm going to go to the opposite side so I can get these cheeky shots into people like this Leopard. We get spotted by the M60 that I didn't expect to be where he is. And when we were trying to get a shot into that Leopard there, you saw one of the big problems. And that was that we were trying to get a shot into that Leopard, and we just couldn't get the gun elevation to get the shot in. And eventually we did, but we got spotted before we really got the chance to get that shell in comfortably. But thankfully, the shell went in anyway. We ended up taking a big slap because we stopped in a place where I thought I might be safe. But the M60 kept us lit, and we actually got hit by the 268 version 5, and we took a lot of it took about a lot of our hit points. But this is where the small round's nice. Now, I loaded the small round because I didn't think I was going to get a chance to be able to load the big round and get that shot in towards the Death Star. So I loaded the small round with that 3.8 second reload, and I managed to get 2 shots into the Death Star before he got unspotted and got away. The M60, however, is managing to get shots into us. I thought that M60 might get evaporated if he came after me, but clearly the buildings between him and my team kept him safe. That's the accuracy in the gun right there. That shot went in on the 268 version 5. We'll take it. We'll take it. Beautiful bit of RNG, as that puts us on to 2.8k damage. The M60's been shut down, so has the Turan, which means we can go back towards the position where that M60 was, see if we can get shots at anybody that might be sitting at E0, and also shots at people like this BZ68 and this E5. So we put the shot down range into the E5. Because we didn't fully aim it, it went a little bit high and hit an auto ricochet angle on the side of his turret and not the side of the E5 where we could have penned him. The destructible cover wall in front of us is, well, we're just too low. We're just too low, so we're really struggling to find the shot. But there we go, 580 odd into the side of that BZ68. And these premium AP rounds that it's got, which is, what, they're actually a laser round, I believe it's called, or something like that. It's just, they just absolutely chonk. And it just does so much damage that it's really, really nice with it. And the fact is that when you think, oh, I can just kill something, well, we've killed the 268 version 5 there, I could just load the smaller round and then get after the Death Star if I wanted really easily. We're going to try and pixel snipe the E5's cupola here. Oh, sadly, he moved just as the shell was incoming, and unfortunately, we didn't get the shot into that guy there. But there's only 3 people left on the enemy team. There goes the Leopard, making it 2, which means there's the Leopard 1 and the Type 5 Heavy. We've got the big round loaded, so hopefully we can chunk around into the Type 5 and get an extra little bit of damage and squeeze it out. So we see the Type 5 Heavy. He's angled perfectly for us. We go for that cheek, put the shot in, damages the ammo rack for 479. But he starts looking at us, and I'm like, nope, nope, don't want it at all. Are we going to reload in time to get another shot in? Yes, we are. We go for the cheek. What? What? It bounced! Okay, thank you, RNG. That's really good of you. We're going to finish the game with 3 kills, 4.2k damage, 1,645 assistance, second class with the 1369 base XP. Pretty average game there for the Technodrome on Westfield, which is, it just really showed how you want to be playing it, which is flanking, get yourselves into nice snipey positions for this gun to go, and if you need to go spot, you can do. But if there's someone who's just as good a spotter than you and they're already going somewhere, you may as well just become a TD. And that's the flexibility that this vehicle can have. It can play as a TD quite easily, but it can also play as a Manticore scout, passive scout thing, right? It can do both very, very easily, and that is a key strength of this vehicle. So we're on the second replay, and the second replay, the reason I included this one is because it's not a good map for the Technodrome, is it? It's Ruinberg, which is a heavy city map. It's not going to be the best map in the universe for a vehicle like this, but we're going to see what we can do. So we boost our view range with food, we see the Batchat 15558, we chonk a shot into him, but rather than loading the quick fire round and trying to get an extra shot or two into that Batchat 15558, I end up sticking with the big round because I didn't want to stick around on top of that ridgeline while spotted, as I felt like I was probably going to die if I did that, or lose a load of hit points anyway, so we didn't want to stick around. That's why we didn't switch rounds and then go for the quicker round into the Batchat. So we've got some shots thrown at us from down the bottom end. We're just trying to see whether we can find them, and we did find a 705A, so we put a shot straight through the side of that 705A there, which is quite nice. And the 290 penetration this vehicle gets is very good for going through most tanks really, really easily. It's only where you desperately need the really high penetration 330, 340 rounds for easier penetrations on stuff like mouse or Type 5 heavies. As you saw in the last game, we did get an awkward bounce on the little cheek that is the easiest spot to pen a Type 5 heavy. If we had heat rounds guaranteed with the higher penetration that a lot of vehicles get, and especially a lot of the TDs at tier 10, right, we would have gone through that with absolute ease, and we could have hit most places on the Type 5 heavy and penned it, whereas that's something that does lack on this vehicle. But it's not really a weakness, if we're honest, because the 290 is still good enough, and because of the camo, the movement, the gun handling, you just get yourselves into good position to be able to smash with this tank anyway. So we're just keeping our eye down this middle road because they have pushed aggressively to attack our guy that is at E2, but they keep pulling back and just about giving us some shots into the rear, which is something that we're always going to take the opportunity to do. There's the AVRE. We put a shot in that tracks and pens the AVRE, and then move ourselves away from the position we were at because I felt like that AVRE might just try and blind fire us. And, you know, you don't want to take a blind fire from an AVRE. It's not going to go very well for you if you do that. So we're just trying to angle ourselves so we can try and find a cheeky shot into the side of his turret. We're not quite finding it, though. I'm just waiting to see if he decides to pull round the corner, because it will be an awkward shot. Maybe I go for the side of the turret cheeks, but then the MBTB says, "Shoot me! Take me out of this game!" And, well, of course, we oblige him, because why would... We're a really nice Technodrome, okay? We like putting people out of their miseries, and that's what we did. We're always going to oblige someone if they say, "Please kill me, please." Technodrome goes, "Yeah, alright." And it's what we do. We're up to 3,044 damage with 1,457 assistance. There is the Centurion 7-1 on our left, which we're going to try and find some shots around this corner at. We're also spotting him, so we get a little bit of assistance. Put around him for 263, which it would have been nice to have the big round loaded there, but we did have the small round because I was thinking maybe I'd get more than one shot into him. So we're just trying to see if we can get a shot into the cent, but we've got to be careful because, while there is stuff around this corner, they could quite easily get shots at us. The Grill 15's out, and I see him put a shot into the side there and load the big round so that we're ready to chonk a shot into them if we need to in the end, because the Griller 15 is running away. So we're just looking to see if we can find a shot into that grill. We can't, and I'd poke around the corner and go, oh boy! We get a shot into the light tank, which was a beautiful shot there. But I didn't realise, and I didn't notice it earlier, that there is a 705A also sat there, hull down, just sitting there going, "Hi, friend. I like your hit points." And I didn't want to give him my hit points, but he took them anyway, which was a sad, sad time. So we made a mistake there, and we paid for it. We lost most of our hit points. We're now basically a one-shot for quite a few tanks in this game. Although there's a couple that still can't kill us with one shot, which is quite nice. And we're just trying to close in on the rest of the enemy team, as it is now 12-6. Their team is starting to collapse. EBR crosses the open. We free aim the shot. Beautiful scene. It's always nice to connect a free aim shot like that on something like the EBR 105. And we got rid of that EBR with a lovely shot with that free aim. I don't know. There's always something satisfying about hitting a shot like a free aim shot that we did there. There's always something satisfying about it where you just don't aim down the sights and you just hit the shot anyway. So we drive around the corner, see the Grill 15. I didn't expect the Grill 15 to just be sitting where he was, so I was kind of like, oh boy! Managed to, because this gun is fantastic, snap that shot into his drive wheel, which tracked him in place, hit him quite hard, and we got a bit of assistance damage for it as well. And we finished the game there with a pretty nice total for the Technodrome on a map that's not the best for it. Finished with 3 kills, 4.8k damage, 2.7k assistance damage, with the first class, the Sniper, the Confederate medal, for that 1,535 base XP. A pretty damn nice game there for the Technodrome, which, like I say, it is just an utterly fabulous tank. And you are going to see that in these next 2 replays. Oh boy, have we got some replays for you for this tank review. This is what happens when you play this tank exactly how you need to play it. Keep it flanking, keep the gun working, use the camo and the view range to your advantage, and just slap with this gun, switching between the 2 rounds where you need it. Because like I say, for ammo management on this tank, it is far easier to pick to just fire 2 of the rounds and not use all 3. Because you can end up confusing yourself when you're switching between the 3, especially in the heat of battle where you really just need, okay, I need this shell, okay, I need this shell. You can end up confusing yourself, and that's the sort of confusion you don't want to have when you're really desperate. So, the 13105, he pokes round, we end up putting a shot into him for 590, it damages his ammo rack, and the Tyran catches a shot into that 13105, shutting down their tier 10 light tank, which means we still got a light tank, and we technically got another light tank, in the fact that I am a light tank, pretty much. So we're going to try and see if we can get a shot into these guys as they cross. There's the Conqueror, put a shot straight through the Conqueror for 623, and this 630 Alpha is just really nice. It's just so satisfying because you tend to roll between 580 to 680. I've even seen a 700 roll, and it really just feels super duper tasty to use. The one thing I didn't note in the section of the stats is that when you're using these rounds, by the way, because they've got different alpha damage, these rounds have different module damage. So the standard AP round, the 500 alpha shot, actually has 180 module damage. The main shell that we're using at the minute, the premium AP, has 200 module damage, and it's 150 module damage on the 250 alpha. So if you want to increase your chances of doing module damage, you want to fire this premium AP. The standard AP will do a little bit less, but it still has high chances of damaging people's modules. And if you see someone's got a damaged ammo rack, but you fire the 250 alpha round, there's a high likelihood that you're not really going to do too much damage to the modules with that. So if you think, well, I was damaging people's modules really easily with the premium AP, but not with the 3rd round, the low alpha round, yeah, it's probably that reason. So we poke over, RBRT, put the shot for the devil! 666, the number of the beast! Oh. Oh. So, this didn't happen. Nope. No, you're not seeing a tank on its head. This was a cool dance move from the Technodrome. It was in its techno dance moment. Yeah. It was showing you its head spin. Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't my bad drive. No, not at all. So, yeah, you saw a bit of the derpy gun handling. I say derpy gun handling. Bad RNG, realistically. With the gun, where we hit the ridgeline twice, even though it was mostly aimed on the Chaug. And then we managed to get a shot into the M48 pattern that was the devil, because we hit him for 666. And we managed to get a shot in to shut down the Batchat 155-55, I think it was, and then another shot into the Jagdpanzer E100. There's a Moisture and a 268 version 5 back there. If we can get a shot into the version 5, that would be great. So we put him down to a one-shot for our team, but we get spotted by the Moisture when we took that shot, which is not ideal. I wanted to stay on spotter for as long as possible while we're here, but it is what it is. 290 pen will go through the flat cheek of a Moisture quite easily, so we put the shot straight through the turret cheek of that Moisture, and then putting down to 975 hit points. Now, I decided to ignore the 2 heavy tanks that were going around the cliff face at D8, because I wanted to go clear the people out that were in their base instead. So we're trying to find the artillery, but we're not doing that. But we put a shot into the Jagdpanzer E100, putting him down to a one-shot for us. Sadly, again, we do get spotted, which means that he knows exactly where we're coming from. So the moment he gets spotted and detected, he might decide to try and blind fire us, which is not what we want. So he's got unspotted. We're going to try and find him. We end up finding a Tyrann as well. So we're just going to try and find the shot into the Jagdpanzer now. He's turning. And Mr. Tyrann gets absolutely deleted by the T249 Black. Sadly, we didn't get any spotting for that because probably the T249 also spotted him. And in fact, it probably wasn't even us that spotted him anyway. It was probably the guy at G3 who just got shut down by the artillery. That's harsh. So we're going to go after the artillery. E4 gets spotted. Hello, Mr. T92 HMC. We've got the big ammo loaded in. We put a shot straight in and go straight for the faster firing rounds. Why? Because with one shot put into that T92, the likelihood is we were never going to reload the premium AP in time to be able to get a shot into that guy before he got deleted. And it happened. We ended up putting a 250 alpha round in, and then he died. So we put a shot into the Moisture, finishing him off. We're up to 7.7k damage with 537 assistance. Just waiting on our final round to go in. Hopefully we can finish off this E4, which we do for our 4th kill of the game. And finish the game with a really fantastic total there for the Technodrome. We finished with the victory. 4 kills, 7,927 damage, 795 assistance. Well, 8.7k combined with the first class. Fantastic game for the Technodrome on Cliff there. Just showing off what everything it's capable of. Keep yourself flanking. Keep your gun non-stop firing. Change rounds where you really need to be able to maximise the damage output you can put in. And you're just going to have a fantastic time with this tank. And we're on to the 4th and final replay. And this is going to be another absolutely fantastic replay. But it's going to be one that we're going to have to play out of our skins to make the most out of the assets that this vehicle gives us. So we're on Corellia, and on Corellia, what I want to do is go and push down to the rocks at maybe C2, maybe C3, see if I can spot the guys crossing up the A line and get some cheeky shots into the side. And you never know what you might do to people that way. You also spot them up. Sometimes it freezes them, because people will go, oh no, I'm spotted, and then stay behind the rocks at A3, A4, which then lets your team take the corner at A1 quite easily. So we're just trying to maneuver ourselves into a better position to spot. I've not really seen anything crossing yet, but I'm just being smart about it because we don't want to push too aggressive too soon, because that's just a way to lead to death. So we poke up on top of the ridgeline. I'm going to back up so that I'm looking over the back of the vehicle. Reason for that is so that I can get out of dodge straight away if I get spotted. There's the side of a T57 Heavy, 694, and we set him on fire. Beautiful, as he ticks for all of that for 1333 from one shot. Just wait to get unspotted, and we're going to try and spot that T57 Heavy yet again. Unfortunately for me, though, 2 mediums and a heavy tank actually managed to make it into that corner at A1 without getting spotted, which is something I didn't think would happen. But there we go. So we have to be careful now when we're pushing this area, because if they win that corner and start pushing up into the position at B3, they can farm me quite easily. So 5120 gets spotted. We aim up to try and see if we can find a shot into him. We can't. T57 Heavy is being YOLO'd by the Murat, and he gets shut down. Can we find a shot into the Progetto 65? That's the oscillating turret problem, though, as we couldn't actually get the gun up to see that guy. Just trying to wait for something maybe to get spotted in their base. I'm not really fancying going and attacking that Progetto 65 or the heavy tank, as I feel like that could go quite badly. Nothing's really spotted at this point, though. And it's been a bit of a weird game for that, because there's only been 1 or 2 tanks spotted down on the G9 area in the 9 line. And we've not really spotted anything in the base. There's 3 or 4 guys got spotted going the other way. And I'm sitting here going, where are they? You know what? I'm going to try and flank up, get to a position like C9, and see if I can shoot the people in the back that are attacking down the 9 line, and see if I can find them. But as we're going that way, we end up finding the T22 medium. That bounces, really. Kill shots. Am I right? Thanks, RNG. As we don't quite get the kill there on the T22 medium. We're up to 2.3k damage with 438 assistance. We're just trying to find a shot into this T-62A. So I'm going to climb this hill, but I can't. I don't have the speed to quite make it up. The 5120 is coming after us. He's seen us down in this dip, and he's definitely coming after us. So we go for the RBRT. We should have free-aimed it. We end up missing that shot. Put a shot in with the small round, though. Hopefully we get the next shot in. It misses. And we take another hit from what I think is the T-62A that we were looking for shots at earlier on. And we really need to move ourselves out of dodge because we are in a very awkward position. The guys that were at A3 are trying to shoot us. Artie's trying to find shots at us. There's a Death Star trying to look for shots at us. This is just awkward. We're in a very awkward situation right now. 2.6k damage, 438 assistance. We're going to load the big round now, the 630 alpha round, to see if we can chonk a shot in if we need to. And there's a Batchat camping in their spawn. I was caught out by that, which means we get spotted. Managed to get a shot into the Progetto 65, and at this point I'm thinking, oh goodness me, I'm going to die. We switch to the main, the low alpha round so we can keep shots flowing into this guy while we run away. He puts a shot into us. We take a hit from the other medium tank. We miss the shot. Oh no, CS63 hits us on the move, which means we're actually quite fortunate to still be alive. 4 hit points and a dream. The dream that is Rome. Or, well, okay, the dream that is damage on Corellia, okay, but still, Rome sounds cooler. We're up to 3.7k damage, 438 assistance, and we've managed to get unspotted and get away. I thought I was dead for sure. The only play there was just to YOLO past them and hope for the best. It was the only thing I could do, and thankfully, we got away with it. It's currently 9-8 to the enemy team, which means they are winning, which is not great. We need to start getting rid of, make that 9-7. We need to start chunking tanks out of this game because our tanks at E8 are starting to get farmed by the people that I've just run past, like the CS63 and the Progetto, because every time they poke out to try and shoot the guys at E9, they are getting shot by them. So I've put myself into a position to see if I could help my team out that are down there. But we end up finding the CS63. Demon! 666 roll again as we put a shot into the CS63. Again, if that CS63 gets killed, that would be glorious. That medium tank that's spotted at B9 is either the Batchat or the Progetto. So I've got to be careful. If we can get rid of that CS63, that would be fantastic. Because he is the guy that is putting damage into my teammates that are trying to push down at E8, and that is not good. But because we're spotting him, he's currently been put down to 75 HP. We're up to 4.3k damage with 2k assistance now, and the T-62A has YOLO'd my E6. Just waiting to see if he'll give me a shot. He does. We're going to make sure of the round. 608 damage to shut down that T-62A. Good night, Mr. Soviet Tier 10 Tech Tree medium tank, to try and help save our medium tank. So my next thought now is you can see the shells flying out from behind that rock. I really do need to just go and get rid of that CS63. Because yet again, if my people get spotted on the hill, if my medium tank gets spotted, they're going to get shot by that CS63 and lose hit points. And we need everybody we've got at this moment in time because it is 6-8. And we are losing by, well, we're down by 2 tanks. So this is incredibly close right now. So we're going to go and get rid of the CS63. So we're going to back up so that we are reversing round so that we can pull forward as quickly as possible if we need to, and just reverse around with our 20km/h reverse speed to try and get the cheeky shot to shut down the 63. But the CS63's actually moved up, so we end up moving and looking over the front of our tank so that we can get the better gun elevation, because that's the thing with this tank. If you look over the back of the tank, your gun elevation sucks. It sucks if you look over the front of the tank, but it's better over the front of the tank, meaning you can get the gun up. We see the shots into the E75 and the Death Star, so we put a shot into the E75 to get rid of him. I should have loaded the lower alpha round to guarantee a shot here at the Death Star, but it is what it is. We're up to 5.2k damage with 2.1k assistance, and I want to get Artie now. Artie's a big problem, naturally. It could quite easily smash someone, so getting rid of that guy will be great. And again, we're thinking of the same tactic as last time. Find the Artie, pump a shot in for 630, switch to the third shell so that we can have the alpha damage, well, so we can just keep the shells flowing into the Artie, and if we can track the Artie, we'll be able to perma-track him, which stops him having the ability to turn around and, well, shotgun us. So we get the tracking shot in, exactly what I was aiming for. We're going to go for the tracking shot again this time. Unfortunately, the shell ends up landing behind him, So we end up penning him, but not tracking him. And we finish him off with the next shot there, as the Batchat ended up putting a shot into him, putting him down to a one-shot for me. We're up to 6.2k damage with 2.1k assistance, and we've pulled it back to 4-4, which is great, because at one point, it was not looking good for us. So we're just going to hide ourselves and then try and spot. So we've got to be careful. And what I'm saying we're trying to hide ourselves is we're being careful about how we're spotting this 9-0 line. Because I'm fully expecting at least 2 or 3 of the tanks to be on this 9-0 line, like the Death Star, because he was there. But I don't want to get spotted out in the open and then just smash an RBRT, because we are on 4 hit points in a dream. One little sneeze and we are dead. We are dead. So we don't want that. So we're being as careful as humanly possible. So we're going to try and poke round through where this tree is, because this tree will give us a little bit of concealment and try and spot down the line. And there's the 705A. I am not taking that shot until I'm comfortably in a position where I can get back behind the cover of the rock. We take a shot, hit the upper plate, bounce. Sad times. But that's the tip there with any tank that's got stealth like this tank. We didn't get spotted by that 705A. If we'd fired, we'd have been out in the open where it was easy for him to hit us. We'd have died. So we waited until the exact moment we were ready where we could hit him and then get ourselves back to cover. This 705A still hasn't spotted us, and that's because the camo on this vehicle is so good. We put a shot into the lower plate of the 705, and we've made ourselves ready so that, again, we could just be hulled down and get ourselves back over the ridgeline if we needed to get safe from him. I'm watching this 705A now, just to see what he's doing, with the possibility of maybe going to get a shot into him. But I think, right now, this 705A is going to be coming to YOLO me. But in fact, he's moving up to the rock, which is great for me, because there's every likelihood I'll be able to put a shot into him. And with his dubious driving, we put a shot there into the side. He fires at one of our teammates, meaning that I've definitely got the drop on him in terms of reload. So I'm going to back up, see if I can find a cheeky shot. Hopefully he'll back up enough to give me a shot. I'm now unspotted, so I can definitely sit and wait to get this shot, because I'm not going to get randomly snapped by something that's down at F0. I back up to try and find the 705A. He's now a one-shot because of that RT hit. And because his whole tank wasn't around that corner, he never actually spotted us firing that round. We're up to 8,002 damage with 2.2k assistance. There's 3 tanks left on the enemy team, and we need to now go find them. Now, I'm expecting there to be a tank exactly where I've just pinged. So I'm going to keep it so that that ring on the map is not going to crest that ridgeline. But my view range has been boosted with the food in the hope that I can spot anything that might be up there. And there's the Ruthless. We're trying to aim up to see if we can find a shot into him, but sadly for me, he gets behind cover, and that means he's going to get away. Or is he? The 261 from A6, beautiful shot. We pinged the great shot there as that gets rid of that Ruthless. That's fantastic. We're now at 4-2, meaning there's just a Death Star and a Chaug somewhere. Now, again, both can just sneeze at us and we'll die. And with where the Death Star was, I'm still fully expecting possibly something to be up here on this ridgeline. So I have to be as careful as humanly possible, because we just don't want to get caught out. We don't want to poke a ridgeline and find a surprise Chaug or find a surprise Death Star and just die. Because this game is still in the balance and we are desperate. I mean, we've had an amazing game so far and we are desperate to win it. So there's the Death Star. He gets spotted. No Chaug has been spotted. So you know what? We're going to swivel round and get after this guy, because then we can try and shut him down. He has fired at our friend though, and just as we're about to get around the corner, the Batchat 25T shuts him down, meaning no Top Gun for us, possibly. But there we go. So I'm going to try and spot the Chaug, because I feel like maybe that Chaug is coming round behind us. Maybe he's down the 9-0, maybe he's out in the open, who knows. So I'm just going to drop down and see if I can spot him, see if I can find him. And there he is. He's actually gone up to where I was last spotted. And we managed to get a shot through his lower plate for 655, telling him exactly where we are. And with what he was doing there, I felt like, oh, goodness me, this guy is possibly charging after us. But we're watching what he's doing on the map. And that is, he is going down the 9-0. He must have seen the Batchat 25T. So we're going to try and flank around the back of the Chow. We're going to use our great mobility on this Technodrome, get behind him, put a shot in, try and support the batch at 25T if we can. Again, we have to be careful because he's a two-shot for us. We have to be careful how we go about shooting this guy. Because if we drive out too aggressively and put ourselves in an open position, get a shot into him but get spotted, we could be in too open of a position where we can't get away from his gun, and again, he could just snap us and kill us. So we do have to be careful. The Batchat's done the perfect play. He's gone to hide round the rock at H6, and we are just trying to close the distance now, because I know where that Chow will be. He's climbing that hill right now, and in fact, the Batchat sees him. So I'm planning to get the shot into the Chow and get behind that rock in front of me. So we get up to alongside of him, put the shot into his side for 726, and then use our mobility to get ourselves safe behind this rock. He's now a one-shot for us. We're going to wait for the reload. And because the Batchat could now YOLO and put shots in, even if this Chow hits me, he could kill him. We chanced the shot through the upper plate because it was angled downwards. And we finish off the Chow. What a game there for the Technodrome as we finish with the victory. 5 kills, 9.7, nearly 9.8k DPM damage there. 2.3k assistance, ace tanker, high caliber, the Pascucci's medal for 2,045 base XP. Just imagine if we got that shot on the Death Star, we'd have had 10k there. But what a game. Technodrome, it's an absolutely bonkers tank to be honest, and it's a bit sad that it does completely overwrite the Manticore. But there we go. That's the Technodrome. Thank you very much for watching, everybody, and I'll see you next time.
A great success!